Flosstube, I'm the Blue Box Stitcher, and welcome to my channel all about cross stitch and sometimes the other crafty things that I get up to. This is Flosstube number 5, which is pretty exciting. I had a pretty relaxed month of stitching. I just kind of stitched on what I wanted to and got some good progress, so I'm super excited about that. I hope you guys are doing as okay as you can be in these trying times. Today I'm just drinking my water bottle. I know we're all chronically dehydrated, so you should get your water bottle too, and maybe some stitching if you want to stitch along with me, and we'll get started. I also have my notes in my notebook. Here, I'll show you. She's like a mermaid coming out of a shell. Love her. So if you see me looking down, that's what I'm looking at. First up, we have something that I'm very proud of. So at the end of last month, I'd spent a lot of time on my Stitch for Pride, which I'll get into. I do have some progress on that, but I just felt like, even though I was really proud of the progress that I did on that, I was also like, well, I didn't get really any progress on any of my other big projects. And so I decided to pull out my full coverage. So my full coverage is a Luca-S cross stitch kit. I think it's called Spring Night. I'll pop a picture right up here. It's about 25,000 stitches, which is crazy. I am not in any way expecting a finish on this in the next, like, maybe I'll finish it in 5 years. But I am really happy with what I did, and I really changed the method that I was going or using. So basically, this is all my previous progress. This is what I worked on this month, and I ended up flipping the hoop, so it's like long horizontal, hot dog style, if you will. And you can see here, I was kind of working a little bit block by block and like filling, like I would pick, this was kind of my starting point, and I would pick a color and like move out, and then I would pick another color and move out, and I was trying to pick colors that I could do a lot of. But the thing is, it's like all shades of blue, and it's really not, I wouldn't say it's confetti heavy because it's really not, but it wasn't as easy to like pick a color and move out as I'd kind of expected. Like, it's not confetti, but it's also definitely not block stitching. There are a lot of shades of blue in this, and I do think she looks gorgeous, but I kind of just wanted to like sit down and get progress done. Like, I just wanted to sit down and stitch. I didn't want to like think about my path or think about which one I should be doing. And so what I did is I picked a color on the other side of the page that showed up a lot, and I just went to town. This is like almost 500 stitches, which I'm really proud of. This is 16 count gridded Aida provided by Luca-S, and I don't know if it feels tighter or like, I think my stitches look really good on it, so I'm not mad about it, but I just feel like I stitch a little bit slower on this than I do on like a Fiber on a Whim 16 count, which is weird because that one's hand dyed and this is not. I don't know. Either way, I'm obsessed with it. I'm really happy with the progress that I made on this. I had started this year wanting to do full coverage Fridays, and that really got away from me because I quickly realized that Fridays are like one of my busiest days of the week in terms of work, and so that was not really happening. But I just like pulled this out and was like, I'm gonna tackle this, and I'm really glad I did. I'm super happy with the progress that I got on it. I'm actually almost 5% of the way done with the project, which is super exciting, and I hope to get more progress done on this. I'm not sure if I'll pull this back out this month. I'll go over this month's plans in my plans section because it's a little bit different, but I definitely want to keep making like sustained progress on this throughout the year. Because I definitely put it away for like too long. So yeah. Next up is my Stitch for Pride. Stitch for Pride was so this is the 2024 Stitch for Pride by These 20 Stitches, and it has 12 different motifs from 12 different queer and trans artists that are the motifs are inspired by their artwork, and it's charted by These 20 Stitches. It's a literal work of art, and I love it. I have a love-hate relationship with my personal stitching on it. This stitch is closed, so you can't buy the chart. It was a stitch along, and then there is a 2025 Stitch for Pride stitch along that a bunch of people are doing, and it's really cool. It's trans and gender non-conforming and non-binary figures throughout history. I've been over this. I didn't buy it because I was like, I literally need to do the one I have, and I feel FOMO. That one is also closed. They open for like a month in December. I'm not sure if D is going to do another one. I know they've been kind of struggling with the process of creating art in today's political climate, which is really fair, and I don't blame them at all for that. So, with that being said, that's what it's supposed to look like. And it's a mini finish. I know a lot of people say that they like to do call them starts and finishes on all the different motifs. I am doing a whole spot sampler, and I just can't trick my brain into thinking that. But this is what it looks like so far. So I finished a full column. You've seen this motif and this motif before, and then I had this one kind of 2/3 of the way done the last time we spoke. And so basically what happened is May 1st came along, and I was like, or May 1st, it was like April 29th, I guess, or April 30th, and I was like, I have not stitched on this all month, and I cannot do that. So I pulled it out, and then I was like, well, I don't even really have time to film a Flosstube on May 1st. Let's just get this motif done before I film this Flosstube. So I finished it last night, and I'm actually really happy that I did. I'll get into plans for Stitch for Pride in my plan section as well, because I'm kind of changing the way I'm doing it, but this is my third motif. Hopefully you can see it. I got this, it's a DMC floss. I got it on sale at Joann's, and I got it because it looks like the lesbian flag colors to me, which worked out perfectly for this motif because the backstage says, "Where do you draw the line?" And it's inspired by a piece of artwork by the Kiss and Tell collective called Draw the Line, where they it was a group of 3, I believe, lesbian women who created this art installation where it was during kind of like the modesty wars, and when people were sort of all up in arms about sexuality and Puritanism, and kind of essentially what we're going through right now, repeated. And so they created these like kind of explicit images of queer women engaging in explicit acts. I don't really know what I'm allowed to say on YouTube. So I'll just keep it a little vague. You can Google it. But it's all very like consensual and empowering. And so they created these images, and then they put them up as an exhibition, and then they only let women look at them, and they let them actually draw on the images and to say, like, where do you draw the line? What is appropriate to you and what is not? If this is a non-exploitative explicit look at queer women, are you okay with that? Or do you still not find it empowering? And it really pushes, I think, I was reading a lot about it. I read all of Dee's education about it, and it's crazy because it is so relevant to today. Like on TikTok, you can't even say the word lesbian because TikTok will flag it as inappropriate content. And so you have these like women who are trying to make content about their life, and they have to be like, I'm a girl kisser, I'm a dollar bean, which is frankly like infantilizing and dumb. And that's not their intention, and I don't like, it doesn't bother me that they're saying that. It bothers me that TikTok is making them say it. It's the same thing on Instagram and stuff, and like, your sexuality is not inherently explicit. But women are only good for that, right? And so, like, the Kiss and Tell Collective has kind of gone on to do other work, and the artists have sort of split off and done their own thing, and they've been very emphatic that this particular piece, Draw the Line, is from a moment in time and should really only be not looked at that moment in time, but it really reflected the time that it was in. But I mean, I personally think it's really relevant to today. I actually wore my Lavender Menace shirt in honor of it. The Lavender Menace was a group of revolutionary lesbians who split away from a feminist group, the National Organization of Women, I believe, in order to push queer rights and lesbian rights as part of the feminist agenda, as it should be. Not, feminism is not only for straight women. And I'm just obsessed with this. And I think the issue for me, the struggle that I've been having is I don't really love stitching on this Ada, although I've gotten a lot more used to it. I don't know. So, like, when I'm stitching on it, I'm like, ugh, I have so much left. I want to work on other stuff. I don't know if I'm just really bad at color theory. And I don't know if I love like my floss choices, and what if it doesn't turn out okay in the end? And this motif still bugs me to this day because I don't like the color that I picked. And then I finish the motif and I do the reading and I think about queer art and I'm like, I'm in love with this. So yeah, that's that. I did 497 stitches on this, so very proud of her. And I literally did it in like 3 days, which is really good for me. Also, this backstitch kind of popped off on it, not gonna lie. The motif on the bottom here, I do need to do the French knots to make them not look like upside down hearts, but I think I'm gonna do the French knots at the end because I don't want them to get squished by the hoop if I potentially put them there. Also, I'm afraid to do French knots, so that's an issue for another day. So yeah. Next up, so my next patterns, I have 2 more. I only worked on 4 whips this month. I don't know, it was kind of a rough month for me. I've had a lot of crazy job stuff going on, and so I just didn't really want to focus on goals, didn't want to focus on stitch count. I just wanted to stitch when I felt like it. And I'm very happy with the progress that I got. So next up are 2 paper patterns. So I don't know my progress on them, but I feel like I did a lot from like an eye test. I don't know what that hair is. So next up we have a Riolis kit, and I could actually just show you the picture. That's what it's supposed to look like. No, it's not a Riolis kit. I don't know why I said that. It's a magic needle kit. I've said this before, I'll say it again. I think it's a Russian company, so I wouldn't purchase from them in the future. I didn't realize it was a Russian company when I bought it. I don't buy from Russian companies. But it is in like, you can see it's in Cyrillic on the bottom. I just don't want my money going towards the Russian economy right now. But tulips are very meaningful to me in my life. I've said before, I have a tulip tattoo right here. I actually did kind of want to finish this month, but I ran into an issue that we will discuss. But first, here's my progress. She looks so good. She looks incredible. Maybe I'll make this my thumbnail. This is probably like the most beautiful piece of cross stitch I have, which is kind of crazy because it's literally a kit on 14 count Aida, which I think is the ugliest Aida. But somehow it just looks phenomenal. It's all this shading. It's the fact that like there's so much stitching and so many different colors go into like one thing. Like the depth is crazy. So I'm obsessed with her. I love her. Here's like a little close-up look. I have run into a major issue, and that is I lost one of the floss colors. I don't know how I did it, and I'm really mad at myself about it. So, I don't really know, and the thing is the floss colors, they just came on this like floss card because it's a kit. So I can't like, I don't even know if this is DMC floss. But I'm literally missing the color 5. I don't know where the frick it is. And so that's an issue. I was gonna stitch all around the color 5 and just fill it in with something else, but that's like proving to become a little difficult because this kit has like 1 strand and 2 strand stitching. So the 1 strand is supposed to kind of look like it's in the background. So there's a lot of background stitching. That's the color 5. That's just 1 strand. And then there's also a blend that includes the color 5. Can't do that. And I just feel like the shading is so delicate and beautiful on this. I don't know if I really want to mess that up. We've seen the issues that I have with picking colors. I also don't love stitching 1-stranded, I will say. It just feels like really delicate and the thread gets knotted very easily, and I also like, I normally do a loop start, and so my threads are shorter, and so then when I do 1-stranded, my thread is super long. I guess I could cut it, but then I wouldn't be able to put it back on the, I don't know. It just feels weird to cut it, and so then it's like really long when I'm stitching it, and I don't like that. One last look. Yeah, so I don't know what I'm gonna do about this, and I need to figure it out because I have another tulip pattern that I want to start, and I cannot have multiple tulip patterns. Like, I don't have that many whips, so I can't be doing that. If you have any suggestions, let a girl know. This is crazy. Okay, my last whip is my D&D stitch. So, I play D&D with 3 of my friends from college. We try to do once a week. I would say that we are ultimately not successful in that. We do more like every other week. But I like to stitch on this when we do D&D. Because I'll just stitch on it when like other people are talking or we're in a battle. If you ever play D&D, you know that waiting your turn in battle can be like slightly infuriating. And I normally only stitch it when we do D&D. I'll put a picture up here. It's this wizard kit by Dimensions. It's out of print, but I got it off eBay. And this month, I just like I said, I wanted comfort stitching, and so this stitch brings me a lot of happiness because it's very associated with my friends. And I also was getting really frustrated because it just looked like blobs. Like, I wasn't getting a lot of progress in my D&D groups. And I don't have like a specific timeline that I'd like to finish it, but I was sort of getting frustrated that it didn't look like anything. So I ended up actually pulling it out for a few nights and just working on it like on my own. And she looks like something. So it's definitely like, I was working a lot on this coat and it's starting to look more like a coat for sure. But for a while it was just like long blobs, which is driving me crazy. So I actually worked on this, like, it's a like book stand that the wizard is looking at. And then you saw the picture. And then there's like a big orb behind him. And so also I was pretty pleased because like I can stitch on the orb during my sessions. That's like very easy fill in. But yeah, I think it looks great. I got a lot done on it. And I have all my flosses on a floss ring, so I will not be losing them. Although it does drive me crazy that like the flosses are just labeled like taupe. And then I have to Google what color taupe is and try to find a floss that best matches that in the floss pack. Like, girl, who knows what taupe looks like? I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm really bad at colors. But yeah, I love her. I'm super excited about this stitch. And I honestly probably will keep working on it outside of D&D as well, just because I really like the progress that I'm making on it. And I'm getting a million notifications for some reason right now. I really want to watch more Dimension 22, so maybe I'll stitch on this while I watch Dimension 20. Or I'll just stitch on it on my own. I don't know. I love her. And one of my best friends from college got me this needle minder, and it's a little shark that looks distressed, and it says, "Need Advil," which is so iconic. My chronic illness, girlies know, pop an Advil like it's candy. I actually don't do that anymore because it hurt my stomach. So now I can't take Advil anymore. I took too much Advil. Now we're all about the extra strength Tylenol. But very happy with that. So a little bit of a shorter one this week, or this month, I guess. I'm still happy with the stitching that I did, and I did do a little bit on my Doctor Who stitch and my capybara stitch, but I only spent like one day each on those, and you would not be able to see like any progress. So I figured I'd just skip it and show you guys in the next video. That brings me to plans. So my first plan is my main plan for May. I don't always do a plan section because I really like to go where the vibe takes me. But I do have a few planned starts throughout the year that are like big. And they are to me what I would consider a BAP, a big ass project. I consider really anything over 10,000 stitches to be a BAP for me. I know that's not a lot of stitching for other people, but that is for me. And so I really wanted to start a piece for Manning May. Carolyn Manning is a cross-stitch designer, and a few years ago, a group of Flosstubers created Manning May, where they started and worked on a piece by Carolyn Manning in May. I think it's super fun. I love her patterns. She does these like very geometric inspired kind of mandala patterns. And the one that I picked is, I believe, called Secret Garden. I'll pop a picture up right here. And I'm super excited to start it. However, I've run into some issues. I live in Austin, and the closest LNS to me is Under the Sea Fabrics in San Antonio, which is about an hour and a half away. And so I really wanted to buy my fabric for Secret Garden at Under the Sea Fabrics because I've been not super pleased with the fabric that I've got from 123 Stitch. Like, I think the quality is fine, but it's just so hard to tell like what color the fabric is going to be when you order it, because the dial-ups change, and it also changes, you know, based on what count and what type of fabric you're getting. So I don't blame 123 Stitch, I don't blame the designers, but it's just hard to buy fabric online. And I had like a very specific vision for this. I love like tile work in gardens, particularly like I love kind of like Moorish and Muslim inspired architecture and the tile work that they do. It's one of my favorite things, really. I went to the Alhambra when I was in high school, and it was like quite literally one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. And so this pattern kind of reminded me of that. So I wanted to get a piece of fabric that looked like stone And I was worried if I ordered it on 123 Stitch, it would come out like more white than I wanted. So, a couple days ago, first of all, my trip to Under the Sea Fabrics got delayed a billion times. I just never really could find a good time to like, because it's an hour and a half away. I want to spend a lot of time there. It's going to take like a whole day, basically. So it just got delayed, and unfortunately, that means that I only had time to go a couple days ago. I drive all the way down there, and they taped a sign on their door that said they had closed early that day for a family event. Which is like their right, but also, I'm sorry, why are cross-stitch stores so hard to get to sometimes? I know there's not that many of them, and they're precious treasures, and we should treasure them and love them, and I do. I literally drove an hour and a half to one, and I love them. But the one in my house, like by my house, in my hometown, literally is open from like 10 to 3. Under the Sea Fabrics is open from 10 to 5, much more reasonable hours. They're closed on Sundays and Mondays. Okay, that's fine, that's fair. But then you drive all the way there, and then they're closed. And like, it's not a short drive for me. Like, I gotta like plan a day that when I can make this drive. So, and I also am not someone who like regularly gets weekends off or like Saturdays off. So I normally get like a day off here or there depending on my work schedule. I'm much more open right now actually, but the point is, I don't have like a regular schedule, so sometimes it's hard for me to plan a full day, and that was sort of frustrating. However, I did end up going on kind of an adventure. I was like, well, I'm in San Antonio, I've never been here before. I was like so depressed, to be honest. I like was having a really rough week, and I was like, I'm gonna go to this cross stitch store and it's gonna make me feel better, and it did not, because it was closed. So then I ended up driving to the Riverwalk in San Antonio. A big river runs through downtown, and the Riverwalk, like, it's supposed to be pretty. The actual Riverwalk itself, I will say, was a little touristy. So I was like walking along the river, moping about my life and cross stitch. Then I ended up walking along, and I came out, and there was this huge festival going on called Fiesta, which is like a celebration of San Antonio that they do every year, and it's huge, and it was so much fun, and it like kind of reminded me of Pride in DC, which is a huge deal, and it was very like, they had food. I got a elote in a cup, which was really good. The vendor did not speak English, and while I can read Spanish, I have a really hard time doing conversational Spanish, and so there's a lot of like them asking me questions and me just nodding and handing them my credit card. I was like, I don't know what's in this cup, but I'm gonna get it. And that was super fun. And then you'll notice I've been wearing a little flower crown, and I thought my fellow Flosstubers would appreciate it because it's literally made out of paper. And everyone was wearing these at Fiesta. I got like one of the cheaper ones, so it's a little janky, but they're all like flower crowns made out of paper, and they have these streamers in the back, and I literally feel like a river nymph. And they had these ones that were like huge with like sunflowers and hydrangeas, and I love it so much. And it ended up being kind of a fun adventure, so it wasn't a day wasted, but it was kind of a bummer. So with that being said, I did order fabric from 123 Stitch. I'm hoping it arrives soon because I really want to start. I had wanted to start manning May on the 1st of May. That didn't work out. That's fine. It's an arbitrary date, but I do, once I get it, I kind of have a vision of doing one strand a day on this piece. So I've never done something like that before. I actually don't really do daily stitching, but I stitch most days. So I thought it could be kind of fun to challenge myself. And also, since I'm starting another BAP, it would be nice to get a lot of progress on the month that I start it. So I'm very excited, and you'll find out in my next Flosstube how that goes. If I like the fabric I got or not. I'm really hoping I like it. We'll see. My next plan is I want to work on my Doctor Who stitch. I'm working on the Doctor Who Pillow Sampler by Cloud Factory. Pop a picture up here. And I have about 400 stitches in it right now, and I need to do more because I'm obsessed with it. I'm doing it on Picture This Plus 16 count, so I do think it's a little bit tighter, so my stitches are a little bit slower on it, which is fine because they look beautiful. But I just really want to get more progress on that. I watched what I have been doing with it is I also want to rewatch all of New Who. And so I started with Christopher Eccleston, and I've been stitching while I watch. If you want to follow along my progress, I post like more frequent progress updates on my Instagram, which is also the Blue Box Stitcher. I'll put it below, but I also watched the first 2 episodes of the new season. I have not seen past the first 2 episodes, and I am deadly serious about spoilers. I'm like not engaging in any Doctor Who media online right now because I don't want spoilers. So please don't spoil anything. But because they're new episodes, I didn't stitch while I was watching them because I needed to be locked in. I was watching with one of my best friends, and I feel like I owe my cross stitch like 200 stitches that I'll just stitch on my own. And then I'll continue with the stitch along, watch along situation. So I want to get more progress on that. And then my last plan that I've been sort of thinking about is Stitch for Pride. So like I said, I have been sort of struggling with what I want to do with it. So it's about 13,000 stitches in total, which is for sure a BAP for me. And when I started it, I wanted to do a motif a month. And I was semi-successful at that. And then I was not successful at that. And then I was working really hard to catch up. And then I was just like spending a lot of time on it and then not wanting to spend a lot of time on it and then being like, I'm behind and spending a lot more time on it. And I'm like really increasing my whip count this year, which I don't have an issue with. But I have a lot of projects that I love, and I don't know if I want to be dedicating the majority of my time to one project. I'm definitely not a monogamous stitcher. I like to bop around. And the thing is, I also really like to see sustained progress on my pieces. Like, I'm happy to bop around, but I don't want them to languish. And so I had been sort of fooling around with the idea of, well, maybe instead of finishing it by the end of the year and having all 12 motifs done, I could do 8 motifs. I would want to do 8 motifs by the end of the year. Or I could do where it's just, 50% done by the end of the year or 75% done by the end of the year. I honestly still have not decided because I really go back and forth on loving it and not wanting to stitch on it. So I've kind of decided, well, is my floss is not here. But I have the floss for the next motif. I need to get the rest of them in Under the Sea Fabrics because I refuse to buy floss from 123 Stitch. We've been over it. I don't like it. I think their pictures are horrendous, and that I do blame the designers. Sorry, but invest in a higher quality camera. It's different than fabric. And I'm really excited about it. I think it's very applicable to now as well. So I think what I'm going to do is we're at the end point of June will be the halfway point of the year. And so I think I'm just going to stitch on it when I want, however much I want until the end of June. And then I'm going to say, okay, half a year has gone by. This is what I got done. What do I want to get done in the next half of the year? I'm planning on doing an overall plans check-in as like a Flosstube extra. in June, and so I'm just gonna make a decision then. But right now I am feeling a little bit excited about the next motif, and I'm going to be using Silky Floss on it, which I've never used before. That is one strand, but it's thicker, so I'm hoping I'll like it more than I liked the one-stranded stitching on my Tulip. And yeah, we'll see. Overall, I'm not feeling like I want to do like a stitch count requirement monthly anymore, really on anything. I just want to work on the things I want to work on, and I want to feel good about the progress that I'm making, and I need to decide what that looks like for me, whether that includes having some goals or if I can just stitch on what I want to stitch and I'll see progress. Like, I don't know how structured I want my stitching to be. Maybe structure would be nice, but maybe too much structure is not nice. Like, I'm feeling a little confined by Stitch for Pride. So we'll see. Lastly, that's pretty much everything I have for, I guess I do have a little bit of haul. I ended up getting a mystery pack of floss from, I don't remember. I will put it in the description. I have no idea where I got these from. It's not Fiber on a Whim, and it's not Picture This Plus, because it's a new fabric dyer to me. If maybe Fiber was just Yummy Fibers? I really don't remember. But they have like a mystery pack of 3 Ada for like $20 of like small pieces that are just like random oops dies, I think, so that didn't come out like exactly the way they wanted them to. And so I bought a pack because I don't really believe in like having too much stash, because I kind of want to buy things and use them. I like love a tchotchke moment, as you can see behind me, but I also live in like a small house that is the equivalent of an apartment. I'm moving into an apartment in a couple months. And so I don't really have like the space to be the hoarder that I dream to be. So I'm really trying not to do that with my cross stitch. But I do like having small pieces of Ada that I could start smalls on. I really wanted to get some at Under the Sea Fabrics, like some remnants and stuff. And I'm still hoping to do that. But these are the little pieces that I got from that like bag that I ordered. They also don't come labeled with the count. I just got Ada. Like, you could pick between linen and Ada, but you can't pick the count. I'll like measure these one day when I want to start something on them. It could be anywhere between 14 and 20 count. Really hoping they do not give me 20 count, because I never stitched on that and I don't think I could. So yeah, this one's like yellow. It's getting a little washed out on camera. It's a little darker than it's showing. And then this is like a nice gray. These are nice neutrals-ish, I would say. I kind of had hoped for some more colorful pieces, but I think these will still work great for some smalls. Although I've been like really in a BAP mood, if you will. So I don't know the next small that I'll start, but when I do, it'll probably be on one of those. That is it for my stitching. So if you're just here for that, feel free to leave. You do not have to stay, but I also thought I'd go into what I've been reading, watching, and playing. I have been in a huge reading mood, and I think I'm gonna add like my reading recap at the end of all my Flosstubes moving forward, because I have discovered a game changer. And that is my Kindle from like, I think it's from 2014. Like, it's literally 10 years old. I don't know how that thing still works. I'm actually sort of impressed, with the caveat that I do not believe in buying anything from Amazon. I try my best not to. But one I do occasionally if I really need something, or if it's just not financially feasible for me to get it somewhere else. One thing that I will never buy from Amazon is a book. Amazon is trying to destroy the publishing industry. I don't believe in buying books from Amazon, and I honestly don't think it's a good... There are easy alternatives to Amazon books. And what I mean by that is, so I bought my Kindle. My mom bought it for me like 11 years ago or something. I really think it's like 2013 or 2014. I looked it up. And I haven't used it in years because I don't buy books off Amazon anymore, electronic or physical. But I have a part-time job at a grocery store, and I like to read during it. But having like a huge physical book was just kind of clunky and awkward, and it's like fine to do other stuff, I guess, while I'm at the cash register, but it's got to be like a tiny bit subtle. And so I was like, well, maybe using my Kindle will be perfect because I read, I use Libby a lot, and I do not like reading on my laptop anymore. I've decided I don't want to do that anymore. But the thing is, you can send, so Libby is, you can attach your library card to it, and you can get ebooks off Libby. It's like an electronic library that you can connect your library card to. Well, you can send your ebooks from Libby to your Kindle. So I've been reading voraciously on my Kindle without giving Amazon a dime. And so that has been a real game changer for me. I read like my entire shift. And it's great. The only thing that's not great is when I'm at like a really juicy part and like they're about to kiss, or someone just tried to kill the king, and then I have to check someone out, and I'm like, I don't remember the code for russet potatoes. This is so annoying. I just want to read my book. But this was a huge reading month for me, and I'm hoping to continue that. So let's get into it. First, I read Gwen and Art Are Not in Love. So cute. It's like a Camelot-ish inspired retelling. It's not really a retelling of Camelot. It's like 100 years or something after Camelot. But basically, Gwen is like a princess, and Art is a descendant of Arthur, and they've been betrothed to each other since they were babies. But they don't want to get married, and they hate each other until they realize that they are both gay, basically. And they're like, okay, let's do like a lavender marriage situation. It is really cute. It's not what I expected. I thought it would be like a fun, flirty romance and shenanigans, and there was that. But also a lot of it was about how queer community can help you accept yourself and bring joy into your life, and how you can show up for others in your community and how they can show up for you. And at the end, like, I was into the romance, but I was almost more into Gwen and Art's friendship. I gave it 4.5 stars just because I kind of wish they'd spent more. It was just a little rushed, I felt. I wish they'd spent more time on their friendship. But overall, I almost cried, which was an issue because I was reading it at a grocery store. And it was so good. And it made me, I don't know, it made me feel almost like a little sad. Like, it kind of put me in a funk because I was like, I want my queer community. I moved to Austin. Austin is very gay, but I moved here in last September, and it's, you know, hard to find your community when you move somewhere that you've never been before and you don't know anyone there and you just move there for a job, and it's hard to build that. You know, it takes time, especially as an adult. Finding community as an adult is hard when all of your friends live on the East Coast. So, and then, but regardless, I loved it. And then I also read Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, which I thought was really cute. Again, like, not the fun, flirty romance I expected. It was also kind of about found community, but I liked it a lot. It was cute. It was fun. Before that, I'm going in like reverse chronological order. Before that, I read The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year by Allie Carter. One thing about me is I was an Allie Carter stan when I was a kid. She wrote those books, I'd Tell You I'd Love You, but then I'd Have to Kill You, United We Spy. Iconic. Loved them. The Gallagher girls were everything to me in middle school. And so when I found out last year that she was writing adult romance, I hopped on that. So this is why I read a like Christmas romance in April. It was cute. I do think her adult romances, like, they're like missing a little something. I don't know exactly what, but it's definitely like the men in it are men written by a woman. Like, they're so obsessed with the female main interest, and I'm obsessed with that. Like, that's the only time I want to read a straight romance, is the man has to be down bad for the woman. I also read Mother of Learning Arc 2. Mother of Learning is this like D&D online book that was published by like an indie publisher that started out as a like serial online, and it's like this guy stuck in a time loop. Like I said, it's very Dungeons and Dragons inspired, and it's not like the best thing I've ever read, but I do eat it up. So I read Arc 2, and I'm currently on hold for Arc 3. And then the first book I read in April was A Pirate's Life for Tea, which is part of the Tomes and Tea series. They're cozy fantasy books, and I really like them because I think most cozy fantasy, to be honest, is a little boring. Like, I like want cozy fantasy in terms of like slice of life in a fantasy setting. I think that's fun, like really fun. I don't want cozy fantasy in terms of no stakes, no plot, sometimes not great writing. I'm just not, I'm sorry, I did not like Legends and Lattes. It didn't hit for me. But the Tomes and Tea series really hits because the books are a little bit longer, which is good. I just don't think you can really adequately do a fantasy book if it's too short, to be honest. Like, it's just, the world is too rich. They're a little bit longer. They have like a plot, which is great, and they do have stakes. I love them. And the characters are really cute. The first two books I've read have both had sapphic couples at the forefront. And I'm obsessed with them. And I'm on hold for book 3 as well. I don't really buy books anymore because I don't want to spend... I bought a lot of books, and I just saves me a lot of money to check them out from the library now. Tomes and Tea is like one of those books that if I had the space and the financial means to, is one of those things where I would read them on the Kindle, and then I would buy all of the special editions to just have. Like one day. I will do that. Yeah, and then my plans for reading, I'm reading my book club book, which is The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi. So good, by S.A. Chakraborty. She's killing the game. I love all of her books. That one's actually a physical book, and I do want to read more physical books this month because I actually do want to buy the Robert Jackson Bennett has a new book, the second in his series. The first one is called The Tainted Cup, and it was so good. And I do own the first book, and I cannot for the, like, it's on a months long hold on Libby and the physical book at the library, and I want to read it so bad. So I've kind of set a goal for myself that if I read, like, I don't know, I'll pick a number right now. If I read like 4 physical books, then I can buy the next one. honestly haven't been watching a lot. I watched the Doctor Who. That's kind of it. I've been watching a lot of Bob's Burgers. I started North of the North, which is really funny, and that's it, basically. I've been watching a lot of hockey. It's playoff hockey. And then in terms of what I've been playing, I restarted my island on Animal Crossing, and that's all I've been playing. That's all I've been thinking about. That's all I want to do. And I'm obsessed. So, that's been my life, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you made it to the end, leave a flower emoji, and I will see y'all next time. Bye!